Sometimes you just need a fun movie about kids from the Bronx fighting vampires.
We are going to wipe you out like the vermin you are.
We got vampires in the Bronx.
Vampires vs. the Bronx is the newest Netflix original film directed by Oz Rodriguez. It stars Jaden Michael, Gerald W. Jones Jr., and Gregory Diaz IV, and it tells the story of three Bronx tweens, Bobby, Luis, and Miguel, and their struggle to save their neighborhood not only from gentrification, but from a nest of vampires that has recently moved into town and is looking to eat most of the residents. I really had no idea that this movie even existed, but with a title like Vampires vs. the Bronx, how could I not watch it? And you know what? Vampires vs. the Bronx is a charming, low-budget horror comedy adventure with some actual socio-political relevance to it. This movie's a lot of fun. It's got some great child performances, the writing is genuinely witty and clever, and at times, hysterical. And it's always awesome to see a movie like this that prioritizes giving roles to young black and brown actors. Vampires vs. the Bronx is ultimately a family horror movie. It's sort of Attack the Block meets Fright Night. It's the kind of movie that you can absolutely show to somebody who is fairly new to the genre and they will be able to appreciate it. Because it's not particularly scary, but it still manages to be fun and relevant to the times we're living in. It talks about intense themes like gentrification and the fact that white people tend to be literal cultural vampires. Sure, it's a little heavy-handed in a, yeah, all the white characters in the movie are the villains kind of way, but it's so much fun and it's so thematically relevant that I can't even really be mad at it. Who doesn't love a little heavy-handedness now and then? The real standouts of the movie are the three kids leading it. Bobby, Luis, and Miguel are all amazingly written characters that actually have a lot of their depth brought out by the young actors playing them. They're all so out of their depth in this situation, but it's funny to watch them band together and try to figure out the best way to stop these vampires and save their neighborhood. They're like watching pop culture TV and films like Blade and Buffy to try and figure out the best ways of dealing with these vampires, and it's all edited in this really punchy, childlike Edgar Wright-esque way, and it's very funny. They're just so in over their heads, but they're really doing this in the investment of the community, and I think it's just really cute and charming as hell. It's clear that Oz Rodriguez, who also wrote this movie, clearly has a lot of love for the horror genre. There's a lot of stuff in here for genre fans, from the media that the kids are constantly referencing, to the fact that the real estate mogul buying out the neighborhood is called Murnau Properties, which, for those of you who don't know, F.W. Murnau is the man who directed the original Nosferatu. Now, I mean, the movie's not perfect, it has its issues, and it really, in all honesty, didn't give me a lot to talk about as far as positives or negatives. I have some minor gripes, mainly in regards to the fact that you've seen a lot of this before. It's derivative at points. We get a good chunk of the movie dedicated to Miguel just trying to convince everybody that the vampires are real. It does have some cringe-inducing dialogue at points and some really bad vampire effects, especially when they're moving fast or flying. But again, this is a low-budget movie for Netflix that still manages to be a lot of fun in spite of its flaws. I'm gonna say that Vampires vs. the Bronx is good for fans of accessible family horror films. It didn't give me a ton to talk about, honestly, just because I don't think this movie is a masterpiece or anything. It's just a fun, charming little adventure that captures the vibe of the Bronx perfectly, while also managing to talk about real social issues in a fun, inventive way. Am I gonna revisit it? Probably not, but it's good for a one-time watch. As always, guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like this channel and you want to see more, click down there, like, comment, subscribe. There is a Patreon link down in the description if you want to donate to that and join my nightly 31 Nights of Halloween watches. I am doing these every night, roughly around 9 p.m. Every night, a different movie, all month long, and anyone who's a $5 patron or higher has access to my Discord and can watch these movies along with me, sync up if you want, or you can just listen to my commentary. You can join me in the voice chat, chat with me, whatever you want to do. If any of that interests you, please consider donating. I would really appreciate it, but even if you don't, thank you so much for watching anyway, and I will see you all very soon.
Go!